film producing is such a beast of its own. It's very different from acting, obviously, for obvious reasons.
Okay, hello and welcome to the Guest Life Podcast, episode 31. Today we're fortunate enough to have Dana Abraham here in the studio, friend and foe, today, very fortunate to have Dana in. He's got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. I'm fortunate to call him a friend. And today he's going to talk about film entertainment. He's an actor. He's a producer. What isn't he? You know what I mean? Taken. But so Dana, thanks for coming.
Oh man, what a pleasure to be here. I actually think you kind of downplayed our friendship. I thought we were brothers by now.
Don't make it weird. But man, thanks for coming on board. And it's funny when I'm able to interview friends because for everybody listening, there's a dynamic between friendship, and it's always interesting to sit behind on this side and say, you know what, let's dig a little deeper and see what the listeners want to hear, and also always finding out new stories about the people that are usually closest to me in life, and from a different perspective, because sometimes as friends you don't always talk like that. So really excited to hear a little bit about your story today.
Bro, I'm ready to get going on it. Let's do it. Awesome, man.
So tell everyone tuning in a little bit about you.
Well, I'm an actor, writer, and film producer. I started off as a performer and just really trying to break into the industry after I graduated university. Not trying to age myself. I was a little while ago. Being it rigorous as it is, being in the film industry and really struggling to get an audition, which, it's such a catch-22. You're trying to break in and get yourself the role that you need to become a name or a household brand, so that way you can get the larger roles, etc. Even getting that opportunity is challenging. So naturally, having a little bit of success on the commercial side, having a little bit of success in the short format web series side, I decided that I would make a short film. And that short film really is what carried the torch into walking into the rooms that are needed to be in, to then develop the conversations to then now own Red Hill Entertainment, which is a production company. Over the pandemic, it's really been our successful timeline, and we filmed a lot in Hamilton. Amazing. Actually, we filmed all of it in Hamilton, all 3 films in 18 months in Hamilton. And we're on to our 4th film, which is hopefully going to lead to 5 and then eventually to 100. So that's who I am as a person. And also, I'm a friend, I'm a brother, I'm an uncle, I'm a fashionista. Yeah, that's it, man.
So, growing up in Hamilton, tell us a little bit about the story that got you into there. I know you were a boxer growing up.
Yep, absolutely. So my mother, she's an artist. So as you know, you've met her. She's really somebody who I aspire to be like. She's an artist and really smart, creative, and just a really hardworking individual. In 1997, we came here for an International Women's Art Exhibit in Toronto. And long story short, we haven't seen our dad since then, and so she's been a single mother to us and raised us through homeless shelters and food banks. And in 1999, the homeless shelter we were staying at in Toronto relocated us into Hamilton to Oriole Crescent. Now, at 10 years old, going to elementary school, I'd get beat up for the toonie, the $2, the toonie days at school with the pizza and pop deal. So I got beat up for that toonie. So my mom was like, son, gotta toughen you up. So that's when she brought me into McGrory's Boxing Club in September of 2000. And Vinny Ryan, Val Ryan, they're our coaches and really took care of us and became my second parents. And I spent more time with them than I did with my mom because she was working so much. I stopped boxing at 23 years old, so 13 years. Spent some of it boxing throughout Canada, Team Canada. And that's really what taught me the discipline, not my English and grammar. And it's what really helps propel the perseverance and the drive and the determination, because it takes so much from you, that sport. Yeah. But it's one of the best sports in the world, keeps you in shape, and here we are.
That's it, man. And you talking about entrepreneurship, and a lot of people tuning in are either entrepreneurs or in an entrepreneurial role, or just really in a lifestyle and kind of that forward thinking mentality and kind of, open your mind to things. And, how much of it, when you talk about sport and going through that journey, you kind of, introduce into your life as an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. I think even both of us, we do substantially, because in sports, there's I feel like there's 3 stages. So there's, you train really hard, then you get to the day, and then you debrief on that day so you can get better for the next match, game, fight, whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. I think business is very much the same, because you prep to launch your business, and as you launch your business, you then are always recapping. Something I know you do all the time. Always recapping, always learning, always growing. So now next time you're launching a product or you're going back out into the consumership, you're able to compete with the best, to be the best. I think unilaterally across all industries, sports is something that I've learned so much from. Again, to go back to the discipline, perseverance. And so all in all, I think it's very, very similar in many ways.
Yeah.
Except I do enjoy being punched in the mouth less physically and literally, just more metaphorically now.
Yeah. I never heard of it that way, but actually breaking that down in terms of like subsequence. Yep. I love that. Yeah. I love that because, in business, a lot of the times I can find sometimes you become reactive at the beginning, but once you understand that process can be so much more beneficial to either yourself or your team when you say, hey, let's reflect on how that went.
Yeah.
That quarter, that week, that day, that morning. And so let's get better for the next time so it doesn't happen again, or we improve on what did happen. Not always such a negative, like, oh, something negative happened. Like sometimes reflecting on the good and say, hey, how'd that win feel?
Absolutely.
How do we get that win again? You know what I mean? I think that's a big takeaway. I've never heard that before. Kind of using that context. That's awesome.
I saved this part for this. Yeah. See? Just like you said it.
That's it, man. Yeah, always learning.
Yeah.
So getting into, you're my only friend in film.
Yeah.
I think you're one of our first guests in actually that space where it's, film artistry. So many people are interested because I know I am. Talk to us a little about the production side, and then we'll kind of work our way into the acting side, because I know, film production, we sit down and we turn on Netflix or we turn on Apple or Amazon, whatever you're using to watch a film, or you're going to the theater back in the day, and you sit there for your hour and a half or your 2 hours, and you get this entertainment, and then coming out of it, it's like, okay, that rush is gone.
Yeah. Or
maybe that rush is still there because you took the Batman cups.
And nobody finishes the popcorn, so you have that too.
Exactly, yeah. Unless you went with me. But take us through that journey of like all the hard work, because even some of the stuff you told me with some of the timelines in production. Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, film producing is such a beast of its own. It's very different from acting, obviously, for obvious reasons. But why it's different is, like, think of it this way. This is the easiest way I can kind of put this. Every movie is like its own corporation. It has to be set up right. That starts all the way from the incorporation of the film into a single purpose entity. The chain of titles and the legal document, all of that have to be done. Hiring the right accountants for production, post-production, and overall corporate accounting. From there, you're going downwards. You're then hiring your production crew. You're hiring all nitty-gritty pieces of the puzzle that are so ample and important to the making of the film. That includes your creatives and your administrative team. Then you get into the creative and the talent, which is, your casting, your top billed actors that, help you sell the film. Then all the other amazing talent that you need to make the movie. Then from there, your movie is now done. So it starts as script, creating the corporation, then you get to your crew, and then you get your talent. Now you're done at the movie. Now you have to get that movie into post-production, which is another 8 to 9 months. So it took you 8 to 9 months to get to camera, a month and a half to film it, then another 8 to 9 months to finish it. Now your post-production, your colorist.
So how long does filming normally take?
The filming itself is actually the shortest part. Really? It can be anywhere between 15 days to 45. Now you have large stature movies that are moving around block to block, and it's so big in scale that could take 5 to 6 months. But in the independence field, which is what I'm a Canadian independent filmmaker, the upcoming film Black Cat, That one is our longest so far, and it's about 25, 30 days of filming.
Really?
But end to end, it's about a year and a half of work.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you guys say filming and you're getting actors from all over, I'm just, my head's spinning right now with all these questions, but is that 25 days, you get a couple days off in there? Is that like working days like the regular human? Or is that like 25 days start to finish, April 1st to April 25th?
Exactly. Good question. So yeah, our work days are basically Monday to Friday, Sunday to Thursday. I typically like to do Sunday to Thursday, so my crew, you guys can't go out Saturday nights. No, but it's 5-day work days. So 25 days is essentially 6 weeks of filming.
Okay.
So it's a good chunk of work. I mean, some actors are going straight days. Like typically your number one on the call sheet, which is typically your leads. The top 5 are your leads. We consider them like they're working a lot as much as they're appearing in front of the camera. And then it works its way down. Not everybody's filming every day, but it's still a rigorous process. Filming days are extremely hectic. They're 12 to 14-hour days, sometimes a little bit longer if you're running into OT overtime. But it's a big chunk. But we like to be prepared for it so that way we have seamless productions.
Yeah, man, I never really heard the accounting part of it, but yeah, like I'm sure the budgets could just get blown and people
Always.
You got to have money to back you up because I'm sure you can't get halfway through production and run out.
Well, that'd be a problem. But, it comes out. That's the producing side. So on the production side, to even continue, the corporation is basically you seeing the end to end of that project. So that widget in this particular case happens to be that specific film. You have to manage the budget. That's the producer side, the line producer side of jobs and tasks. And that also includes the legal aspects of it, making sure you uphold your contract end of the bargain to both your investors, your distributors, your talent. There's a lot of responsibilities. I think a producer, if I were to give you the simplest description of what it is, it's like the CEO of any new company.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. So now the acting part. So, again, this context is obviously, owning and being a partner in Red Hill Entertainment, who's going to now do the films. And then you're also in the films.
Yeah.
How'd you manage that?
Well, I made a lot of people take a big chance and risk. For better lack of word, I'm just really proud of my business partners, specifically Kamar. He's a co-founder with me. He's a venture capitalist, CPA, MBA bearing venture capitalist. So very, very smart human being. He's also like a brother and best friend to me. He is really the reason why Red Hill is alive, because I had went to him to pitch a movie that we've yet to shoot yet. It's called El Tigre. It's very much intertwined with my life of boxing and the rugged streets of Hamilton that I grew up in, but set in New York. And we just never really were able to get it to camera until I met and sat with Kamar in a boardroom. And he had said to me, I can help you raise for a movie. It'll be challenging. But if you bring me a company, that's when we're really having a good conversation, because I can get people to invest into a company. And so that's when I thought about what the company's going to be, where we're going to locate it, taking advantage of the tax credits that exist in Hamilton and the structure system in film in Hamilton. And so we kind of launched Red Hill from there. Acting, whole new beast of its own. That's where I really get to be creative. And I got to tell you, really hard to do while producing. But
really,
I don't think I can go back from that anymore. I don't think I can not act. I mean, I don't think I can act without producing. I just enjoy both so much simultaneously.
Really?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's not the normal direction of, an up-and-coming actor.
Well, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck.
Okay.
Right? Good Will Hunting. I think that it's not the norm. So it feels like even for myself, sometimes I feel I belittle myself mentally sometimes, because I feel like, I had to make my own movies to give myself an opportunity. Was I not good enough? But I remember, if you really recall, there's a lot of phenomenal actors that produce their own work. It's just that the dynamics of that trajectory does happen later in their career as they've developed that brand and the trust within the studios, etc. It just so happens I had to choose a different route to give myself the proper opportunity. But as these films come out and people in the film industry watch it, like sales reps or agents or distributors, they're starting to trust that, okay, it's not just this kid trying to give himself an opportunity. He's good. He's great. And this is just his journey. And so it's very similar to Matt and Ben's and yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. I mean, I think, at the end of the day, being lucrative and finding ways for things to work, right? You know, not taking no for an answer, not taking like, you know, okay, let's go line up. You know, I related to, you know, I know a couple of people out of high school, go to university, try to become a teacher. And actually I had a cousin who, you know, everyone was like, oh, it's so hard to get a teaching job. So hard to get a teaching job. And my cousin was like working a job and volunteering to be a substitute sports coach at one of the schools. And it's like, there's always a way.
Always a way.
There's always a way, you know, copping out and saying like, oh, it's just, you know, there's so many actors, you know, there's so many plumbers, so there's so many, you know, there's so many lawyers out there. Why would they call me? Or how could I do it? Or how could I run a business? And that self-talk of, well, why am I so special? How can I do that? And I think that self-doubt is so normal as more, you know, entrepreneurs that you talk to, or just people that you talk to, is, you know, I'm not worthy of that. And then all of a sudden, as soon as you kind of can jump that hurdle and flip that on its top, it's powerful.
Oh, for sure. I mean, look, it's the self-doubt is built in through the system because it allows individuals to function in society for whatever the reasons may be, right? But in the end, I think that everything's achievable. I mean, like you just said, how many plumbing companies are out there, but how many are doing it the way you are? And I know how hard you work and how hard we all work. But in the end, the threshold that we're given can be broken through, because if it wasn't, then how... There's tons of Brad Pitts out in the world. You just have to go work towards that goal. And we all look at somebody and say, we can't be that, or that is unattainable. Is it? Have you really looked at yourself in the mirror and asked yourself, is it really unattainable? It's everything's achievable, man. You just have to work backwards from that goal and try to reach it. So my goal was, okay, I want to be Universal Pictures one day.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, they're a publicly owned company. So go find out what their financials look like. Look at what their forecast looks like. Look at how much content they're making a year looks like. And then I reverse engineer for Red Hill Entertainment. So in the end, I reverse engineer everything in life. In boxing at 10 years old, I lost my first 6 fights and I quit. My boxing coach came to me, knocked on the door, grabbed me by the ear, brought me back in the gym. Then he showed me Mario Kindlin, who was an Olympic 2-time gold medalist at the time from Cuba, or at least one time at the time. And I reverse engineered how he boxed, how he moved in the ring. I've been reverse engineering things since I was really young, because that's how I've had to learn. So even acting and performance, I looked at Matt Damon and Ben Affleck giving my goals and aspiration. I want to be that. I don't want to, it's not just enough for me to be a performer. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to do great things. I want to provide opportunities, create jobs. Red Hill employed 515 people over the pandemic.
Amazing.
That to me means more than just acting.
For sure. And I think, you know, I use this saying is everybody's got a sock drawer.
Yeah.
You know, like when you look at someone and you think, oh man, how's it? Well, Bill Gates has a sock drawer.
Yeah.
Matt Damon has a sock drawer. I have a sock drawer.
Yeah.
So, you know, using that as just context of like, you know, man, they've got a skill and you appreciate that and you value that. It's not to take anything away from anybody that's doing great stuff, but I can do that too. For
sure. And it's not to also take away from the fact that I'm immensely grateful and fortunate to have met the right people. But, you know, I know how hard I work. We all work really hard, but at the same time, it does take a lending hand, as somebody to believe in you.
Totally.
So I've just been very fortunate to be surrounded by individuals such as that. And, you know, then it continues onwards. Distributors taking a chance on our films, hoping to create opportunities and relationships because they believe in us as at Red Hill, and myself as a performer, and Rusbe as a director. And so, you know, it's really important to have the right people around you. But again, it's all achievable if we just want to go for it and want to get it done the way we foresee it.
Yeah. So you were talking about some of the benefits of, you know, filming in Hamilton and bringing jobs to Hamilton and some of the subsidies and stuff like that. Talk to us a little bit about the Canadian film, you know, from what I know, you know, the Canadian Film Festival and going to TIFF in Toronto and stuff like that. But in terms of kind of the mindset with business, connecting it to film and understanding some of the subsidies and thinking about the kind of how much it boosts the economy when you have like a big film and an extra 200 staff in an area, and
absolutely,
you know, you see all the buses downtown and the streets relined and stuff like that. What got you thinking like that?
Well, you know, again, it kind of, I think any entrepreneur, you just start with that idea, and that idea kind of expands and grows as you do your research, you understand about the market and the industry. So for me, to be really honest and clear, it was just because I wanted to give myself an opportunity as a performer first.
Yeah.
But as I learned more about filming, and Q Kamar, who got me kind of thinking about bringing a company forward, I had really just started with, okay, well, what is it like filming in Canada? So then I started reading about it. Then I reached out to a really good friend of mine, Christian Borgeson. He then connected me with somebody named Nathan Fleet. Nathan Fleet has kind of become like a Vinnie Ryan, but in film industry for me. He kind of sat with me at the Mule, and the Mule in Hamilton, amazing taco place. You're welcome. Yeah. And he just kind of gave me the lowdown on filming in Hamilton. At that point, he said, you have to meet Debbie Spence in the film office and travel and tourism head, right? She told me more about the tax credits. So as I learned about filming in Hamilton, I just met the right people again who just gave me a lot of information.
Yeah.
From that information, I just started doing more research. There's 9,146 union crew members that live in Hamilton. Then there's more that are non-union. Hamilton is 11% of Hamilton's labor force is in the film industry. Wow. For me, it's understanding that there's a 45% tax credit inclusive of a regional bonus that exists in Hamilton. So if you film in Hamilton, 40 to 45% of the monies you spend here on labor, on Ontario labor, I should say, and all the spends in Hamilton like locations, rentals, etc., that's all tax credits. So which means you can get that back from the government, both provincial and federal. Now there's banks out there like Royal Bank of Canada, CIBC, Scotia, they have the media and entertainment department that do internal financing on that tax credit right up front for you if you want to use it to go to camera, or if you want to get it back to diminish or mitigate the net exposure for your investors. So understanding all of that, I grouped it together and I got a slate of projects, and I said over the next 5 years we want to do this many amount of projects, and I want to do it in Hamilton, moving towards one day, God willing, 150 to 200,000 square foot of a film studio with all of that accessibility in the film studio. So now you're creating even more jobs, but now it's not just your movies, it's a studio that services productions from all over the world. Yeah. Giving them the advantage of the tax credit.
That's amazing. And, to touch on that, talking about all these things, and for everybody tuning in, like, some of this stuff might go a little bit over your head, but Dana is, talking about his giving back, and you guys know about the shows. We try to give, people a voice, but also people that are doing great things and giving back. And so tell us a little bit about your give back that you're doing right now to educate, new talent coming through the ranks, because I think that's just, I was asking him because he was explaining it to me, and I'll let him explain it to you. And then I was like, oh, so like, what are you charging for that? And he said, what do you mean? And and I'll let him take it from here.
Well, thank you, man. It was just so challenging. I mean, it's still challenging to be a performer for all of us, and it's even more challenging to be a producer and a performer. There's just so much red tape in this world, and it's not just in film, but it's across the board. And I see you in meetings and workshops, and you guys are always trying to get better. So it's unilateral, but in business, I think those that go back and to open up doors for those that otherwise wouldn't have those doors open, very much like ourselves. What does it mean for that next Dan Guest or that next Dana Abraham? So I was just really fortunate to have an opportunity with ACTRA Toronto, the Performers Union here in Canada, to put together a curriculum for a content creation workshop. You see light up. Yeah. Makes me that's when I know I'm doing good things, when Daniel has a smile on his face. It's a 2-day workshop. It's 6 hours each day. And my goal was to create a workshop where I can empower performers, very much like myself when I was getting going, to give them the information from pitching to accounting to casting, understanding the contracts with the unions, to legals, understanding the contracts within the production, to distribution, to marketing. Basically, the end-to-end spotlight on what film producing is like, as best as I can in 2 days. Yeah. We decided, ACTRA Toronto and myself, to not charge a fee, because is that really empowering? At that point, I just feel like I'm charging for knowledge that I otherwise would give to you if you just called me and wanted to set up a Zoom or in person. So I just felt like I could reach the masses. And is everybody going to become a film producer? Maybe not, but at the very least, I've done my best to empower the next group of Red Hill Entertainments.
That's amazing. And I think, for everybody listening, all the information's out there. It's like when people are like, oh, why are you giving away your secrets? It's like,
No, it's not a secret at all.
you still got to do the work. You know what I mean? Like, anybody that's got, there's things that want to steal an idea. And I think, I love talking about the way Elon Musk thinks sometimes and, not like giving away all his patents and opening the doors for patents and stuff like that. And I'm not trying to get into some political thing, but that to me is like bettering the world. And it's like, the best thing you can do to someone who's a mentor or someone that's giving you advice is act on the advice. It's the best. I mean, the advice that you agree with, I would say. Not all mentorship is good mentorship.
Nope.
But yeah, like taking that advice and making an action on it and showcasing that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's, I think that's just, it's rewarding for me. It's been rewarding for me. When anybody gives me advice that I just, I love, I always follow up with them.
Yep.
Let them know how it went, critiques, this and that,
Now, I don't want 30 to 200 people telling me how terrible I was. So don't, no, but like even to think about it, you and I talk about expectations, right? All the time. And even my expectations on this workshop, it's not to empower everybody to, create a Red Hill Entertainment or become a massive producer or any scale of a producer. At the very least, even as a performer, understanding and having this knowledge could be within your arsenal to then even better yourself as a brand, because all actors are a brand. So now you understand what casting feels like, you understand all the different mechanisms of production feel like, and you understand what your job within that big wheel is like. So then you can even better that and channel that and really just become a better brand holistically. Yeah.
And that goes a long way, like understanding the whole process of the journey. I find in business a lot of the times, like, I was talking to a supplier today and they were trying to get some business from us and excuse me, we were talking about like, it's a partnership and if I don't know about how your business succeeds or fails, how can I become a good partner to you? Yes, you're trying to sell me product, but if you don't know that my guys are unorganized and call 36 times a day for free delivery, how can I ask you for the best price?
Absolutely.
But if I know that, you guys do deliveries Mondays and Wednesdays and you got an extra guy on Friday, I know I can schedule my life around you to, get the best price from you, but utilize it so that it's not the highest cost to you either.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure with film, all the different facets, it just goes such a long way. And, ourselves, we've done a couple like short commercials and it's funny over the years because it starts on an iPhone, on a selfie stick. And then it moves to, okay, we got a little bit more money. Let's get a little bit more production. And, the guy that shot our last film did a film for Baffin Canada, the boots. And, man, it's like lighting, like, they're like, hey, we just need an hour and a half to set up for this 15-second shoot. Yeah. And I was like, wow. Right. But understanding, how to support that and see that, final product come out. Okay. They know what they're doing. This is how it happens.
Absolutely, man. And that's again, as unilateral across every industry, but performers, I think we're in such a tough spot because that audition that you have for that role, there's one of you, but then there's however many number of people auditioning. So the one role versus that. So just understanding how to better fit into the industry, just hopefully will empower you to then excel in the industry.
And so tell us a little bit about, I don't use the word work-life balance, but, connecting your personal, giving yourself some time, family's big for you and friendship, obviously. How do you find that when you're so excited about the next venture? You're so excited about the producer. You've got, because you're working international now with some of your connections, right?
Yeah.
So managing your time, you know what I mean? How do you find that? And also, what's the pros, cons, and what do you love about it?
Well, we just don't sleep. No, to be quite honest, I think I'm still learning what the balance is. I think that human beings, we always are, because as we evolve, our balance needs to be evolved, right?
Yeah.
So to use a great example I was reading about, when you start off in an industry, you have a little bit more free time as you kind of get busier, right? So you're trying to get yourself more busy. As you get busy, you're trying to find a little bit more free time. And then eventually you end up being less busy as you kind of taper out of the industry and you're on your way to retirement or whatever that looks like for you. I think that we're always evolving. We're always trying to learn. We're always trying to better our relationships, manage our relationships, both professionally and personally. For me, my business partners are also really good friends of mine, so I spend a lot of time with them outside of work. And then obviously I have my really close friends and I have my family. I don't think I have yet perfected what a work and personal life balance looks like.
Yeah.
But I work towards it in the sense of just understanding what I need to be doing based on priority. I know that my priorities are my family. I know that my relationships are really, really important. So it's understanding where I need to be and when I need to be there. There's a lot of deadlines. We all have that.
Yeah.
And some of those deadlines you just cannot pass. So you have to work with that goal in mind. It's no different than boxing, again, to go back to it.
Yep.
If there's a boxing tournament coming up, well, a couple months out, we're training really hard. But then once that tournament's done, whatever level of success you've had and whatever success looks like for you, you then know you have a little bit of free time until that next tournament. So you can spend it a little bit more freely and enjoy yourself. And so it's no different in work. Right now, I'm really motivated to do a lot of great things and to create and to take on the next job and the one after that. I want to be busy forever, I
Totally.
think. But that's where I'm at right now in my life until the next step and trying to change again.
Yeah, no, I really like that in terms of that change and that balance. One of the things that recently I was like, I just, with COVID coming out and I'm a people person, always got these lunches and everything. So as soon as I got shut down, I was like, oh my gosh, my schedule is wide open.
Yeah.
And I don't like that, so I found myself like, okay, now I'm scheduling and now things are going good. Yeah. Scheduling 2 weeks out, scheduling 3 weeks out.
That's exactly.
And then all of a sudden, it's like someone's like, "Ah, man, let's get together for lunch." And I'm like, "You free in 3 months?" And that didn't work either. And it was funny that you just said that, kind of clicked. And it's now I'm saying, don't book anything in that third week.
Yeah.
For allowing me to have some of that, freedom there. But
the scheduling thing is kind of tough for me because also as a person, we always never want to let people down, especially with the graciousness we have in our relationships. We're really grateful for them. Yeah. But it's also understanding now that I can't get back to every text message. I can't get back to every, direct message on different platforms. And I can't have every lunch or dinner that I would love to otherwise have them. I wish that I had the free time too, because guess what? I love eating out. I like having drinks. I like having a good time. But it's understanding, like you said, like our priorities are shifting because we are busier and things do need to get scheduled 3 weeks out or a month out or for you a year and a half out.
Well, tell us a little bit, the question I always ask at the end of the podcast is, what advice would you give to your younger self or someone coming into the industry that wants to kind of make an impact?
My younger self, man, it's a good one. I think about this all the time. Just keep failing forward, man, realistically, bro, because I'm a byproduct of failure. Like, we just keep, if I've never failed, I wouldn't have even wrote a script. And if I never failed trying to pitch that, I would have never wanted to be a producer. And if I didn't have a hard time producing my first film, I wouldn't have done second or the third or the fourth, right? I think failing forward is such a big life lesson. So I'd say that to everybody. Just try to learn from and mitigate your exposure and risk the next time around. No different than boxing, bro. Yeah. Fall 9 times, get up 10. Fall 10, get up 11. And so realistically, I think I also have to say this for everybody. Just be kind to yourself, man. Life is already hard. Like, it's just so hard. We're always competing with the best version of ourselves. Social media doesn't make it any easier for us because we're always looking at the best versions of everybody's self, right? Yep. And businesses included, sorry. And so just be kind to yourself. Understand your given point. This is your current circumstance. And then how do you get out of it? Mm-hmm. Not everybody has the same doorways that's open for you. I didn't. Matt Damon didn't. Brad Pitt didn't. And any industry. Elon Musk's door was different than somebody else's door that's going to be innovating the world after Elon's done. So just be kind to yourself. Life is beautiful if you just give yourself that moment to breathe and adapt and learn and grow. So
that's amazing. Patent pending. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Again, guys, so grateful for everybody tuning in. This podcast is here for you and all the listeners and to really give, incredible people like Dana a voice and a platform to showcase. And, very fortunate to be able to do that for people. And Dana, everything's going to be on him, his Instagram, his handle. Please check out his next movies. I know I'm going to be there. Popcorn, even though a couple of them are scary. So not my cup of tea. I like to laugh instead of cry. But thanks so much for having us on.
Dude, thank you so much for having me, man. I can't wait to be on again and again and again. I love you, and hopefully somebody can take away something good from this.
Amazing, guys. And you always want to ask yourself this question at the end of the podcast. Why not me? Why not now? Take that risk. Do it. Go for it. Fail forward.
Heck yeah.
Sweet, man.